Damon Martin, MMA fighting here with one of the top combat sports athletes in the world. And the reason I say that is this guy is not a one-trick pony. He fights in kickboxing, he fights in boxing, and on January 28th, he makes his return to mixed martial arts in the main event of Eagle FC 44. Welcome in today, the great Tyrone Spong. Tyrone, how are you?
That's a hell of an introduction. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for me today. I really appreciate it. Of course, the fight now, a matter of days away, a return to mixed martial arts, first time in several years. And I know we talked many years ago when you first made the transition in MMA. So why now? What was the reason to come back to MMA?
Opportunity arose, and I took it. We've had a journey in boxing. I'm still active as a boxer, but with COVID hitting and no promoter and no shows that were being put on for me, I have a great relationship with Khabib, and obviously we share the same manager in Ali Abdelaziz. This opportunity came by, and it's a big challenge. I'm fighting a giant. He's a polar bear. So it's something that appealed to myself and my team, and I said, let's do it.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to talk about boxing in a minute, but that was kind of what you had been doing more recently, of course, put together a 14-0 record, incredible run you were doing there. In terms of MMA training, though, like, had you been doing much MMA stuff on the side, just here and there, or did you kind of get back into it for this fight?
I got back into it for this fight. Obviously, I'm walking around one of the top MMA gyms in the world right now at Sanford MMA. So I've always helped the guys out striking wise, and obviously I had to really jump back into the grappling department, and it's not been easy, but I'm happy where I'm at right now.
Of course, Sanford has an incredible team down there. Henry Hoove, Greg Jones. I mean, the list goes on and on. If you're going to work with the team to get you ready to go back to MMA, I don't know that you can pick a much better one. I mean, did that really help you in terms of kind of making that move back? Because we all know you're striking, Tyrone. It's world-class, some of the best in the sport, especially when you talk about kickboxing and boxing combined. But again, grappling, wrestling, these are all things that you have to anticipate in mixed martial arts. So how much of a benefit was it working at Sanford and having that team to get you ready for an opportunity like this? Because it's your third MMA fight, and we got to be honest, man, you're taking on a freaking legend. I mean, Haratonov has fought everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's good to be at a team at Sanford, and like I said, it's a challenge. I'm gonna use my expertise as a combat sport athlete to make sure that I'm successful. But I had many people ask me, like, man, why such a big guy? He's probably walking around like 280 or 270 or something like that. But that's who I am. My team knows it. Everybody around me knows me as a competitor. I like challenging myself. And I think this is one of the biggest challenges of my MMA fighting career, fighting a big guy like that. And I mean, it doesn't get better with guys like Greg Jones, Kami, and as of now, I have Said Saparov from Russia as well, helping me with my wrestling and my grappling. So I'm pretty content and confident where I'm at right now.
And it seemed like I saw you at the press conference when Eagle FC did the initial press conference. Originally, you were going to fight Bigfoot Silva. It switched over to Sergey Kharitonov, and it didn't seem like you blinked or hesitated at all with the change in opponents, which we got to be honest. I mean, that is absolutely nothing against Bigfoot Silva, but Kharitonov is a monster. You said he's a giant. It seemed like you didn't have a hesitation at all going from one opponent to the other?
No, you could take that up with Ali. He called me. I said, I'm fighting. So whatever, just make sure that my opponent shows up, and we're gonna bang.
Yeah. So now I know this is probably a tough question to answer ahead of the fight, but Eagle FC is launching a pretty big promotion in the U.S., we know this card January 28th, yourself, Rashad Evans. It's a pretty stacked card. And then we know Kevin Lee has signed with the organization, looking at March for his debut. What are your thoughts in terms of like your combat sports career in 2022? Like, are you taking this fight and then saying we'll see what happens? Are you gonna devote more time to MMA this year? Like, where are your thoughts at right now going into this one?
As of now, we're taking it step by step. It's been a long time since my last fight. Then, coming back as an MMA fighter after a long layoff, and before that, just doing straight boxing is a huge transition for myself. And not only for me, mentally it's fine, but physically, your body has to be able to cope with the MMA training, the grappling, and everything. And if your body's not used to it after such a long time, it has a great impact. So, like I said, I'm proud of where I'm at right now. I'm doing something that I love, and that's facing a huge challenge. I'm looking forward to that. So after that, like you said, Eagle FC has some amazing plans. I believe in the whole team behind it, not just Khabib, but the other people behind the scenes that are making things happen. And I think they're gonna do amazing things, not just in boxing, not just in MMA, but possibly in boxing and other disciplines that are gonna put on as well. So we'll see how it goes. For now, um, you know, my mental state has always been like this, that we're gonna focus on the task ahead and deal with that, and after that we'll see.
This sounds like a funny question, Tyrone, but I had a conversation a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago, with Claressa Shields as she was making her move into MMA. Now you're in a little different situation because you've already done MMA, and of course you did kickboxing, at the highest possible level. But I talked to Claressa; she was learning MMA for the first time, and I asked her, I said, "Have you learned to love it yet?" And she kind of laughed, and she's like, "I'm starting to, but getting into the grappling, getting into the wrestling, it was like duck out of water for her." Being a boxer. Now you've done it before, but getting back into MMA, doing the training, doing the grappling, like have you enjoyed it? Like I know it sounds like a weird question, but have you enjoyed that aspect of it? Kind of getting back into grappling and wrestling, because we got to be honest. If you're not enjoying it, it's going to be harder to want to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, I'm a very physical person, so I actually enjoy grappling. I actually enjoy wrestling, clinching, you name it. I enjoy that because it's physical, and I like to compete. So if there is a good wrestler in the room, I'll go up and I'll grab him and I'll start tussling and wrestling with him. The not so fun part is when you can't get up and they're on top of you and they're fucking just getting you tired and everything. But yeah, I do enjoy it. I do love it. And you might not love it in the beginning, but as you go, you start loving it because, like everything, the beginning is hard, but once you see some improvement, that's it works motivating, and you keep going. So I enjoy it. Yeah.
You mentioned, of course, Sergey. He's a legend. He's fought everybody, and he's actually got some pretty big knockouts on his record as well. I mean, of course, been covering him for many, many years. But Tyrone, we can't lie to ourselves and say anyone is probably going to voluntarily go out there and try to trade hands with you, or in this case, knees, elbows, kicks, things like that. And you got a big guy. I mean, you mentioned, Sergey is a big guy, 280 probably. How much, like, no matter what he's done in his past, no matter what he's looked like, do you kind of anticipate everybody, whether it's Sergey or anybody else, or whether it was Bigfoot or whoever it's going to be? Chances are no one's probably going to test themselves too much on the feet with you. Like, it's almost like you kind of know that going in, right?
Well, I'm kind of prepared for everything. Yes, he stated that he would like to, stand and bang, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not even thinking about it now. I don't have a glass ball. I don't know how it goes. Once one of us connects, we'll see how he reacts. Maybe he'll shoot for the fucking ankles. I don't know. But we'll see. My job is to be as well prepared as I can be for whatever scenario. So if he wants to grapple, I got to be ready to defend or work with that. If he wants to strike, well, obviously, I'm content. I know what I could do there. Honestly, to answer you, I'm just gonna be ready for whatever happens that night. It will happen.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Tyrone, because you mentioned, right now it's kind of one fight at a time. You're going to kind of see how this fight goes and kind of move on from there. But I can't lie and say, listen, when you were on your run in boxing, I was really intrigued by what you were doing in boxing. And of course, you had the big fight set up with Oleksandr Usyk. We know the controversy, all this. I'm not gonna rehash that because just gets me angry. I'm sure you probably gets you angry all over again as well. Yeah. But we know what Usyk just did. I mean, Usyk, just went out and got a huge win. Now he's a champion. We're waiting to see who he's going to fight next. I am curious about you getting back into boxing for that reason because you were on an incredible run. And man, I got to be honest, I was super excited about that fight. And I don't know if you jump back into that or Anthony Joshua or whoever else is out there, but do you have interest in jumping back in those big fights? Because I got to be honest, Tyrone, you looked phenomenal in your boxing career.
I mean, the total landscape of fighting has changed and is changing. You have some other organizations popping up, putting on amazing, entertaining shows, and this will make it a little easier to get one of those big fights lined up. Yes, of course, I'm still upset, but I'm not mad about it anymore. We all know what happened. In my opinion, I got robbed from a huge opportunity, but it is what it is. You can't make a lemon, more sour than it already is. So it is what it is. But yeah, we'll see. I would definitely like to test myself against guys like that because I was right there. I was ranked number 3 heavyweight in the world, and I had a huge opportunity. I didn't get it, but we'll see how it goes now. There's different things going on in the fight game now, so who knows? And I for sure know what I could do because I sparred, I trained with the best of the best in the heavyweight division, and I know myself as a fighter because obviously sparring and training is different, but I'm a guy that 9 out of 10 times when the bright lights are on, that's when I show up.
Absolutely. You were in a little different situation when you went into boxing because, of course, you were a kickboxing legend and then you went into MMA and then boxing. And so you went on 14-0 career, all the knockouts, all the things you did in boxing. You've seen the trend lately with a lot of mixed martial artists kind of testing themselves or wanting to test themselves in boxing. Now, what Conor McGregor did, let's say against, Floyd, that's a whole other story. And of course, Tyron Woodley going over and fighting Jake Paul, again, a whole other subject. But we've seen recently a guy like Francis Ngannou, who I have, a tremendous amount of respect for. I think he's a monster, of course, best heavyweight, in the UFC right now. He's talking about going over and testing himself in boxing. Now, I have no idea how much time he spent into boxing, but you've done it. You know how hard it is. And you know how you had to work your way up to become the number 3 heavyweight in the world. And they're talking about him jumping in day one and fighting a guy like the champ Tyson Fury. I'm curious your reaction or what you think of this, because as a guy who literally worked your way up to becoming that number 3 heavyweight in the world and getting those opportunities, I won't say does it make you angry or do you laugh or I don't know. What do you make of all this recently where we see all these guys trying to cross over to boxing right now?
No, I mean, I don't get angry. It doesn't really do much for me. I mean, all I know is that, and Ali could testify to this, is that whenever the fucking phone goes and they get a call to face me, it doesn't go that easy. So I think that in the landscape right now, there's a lot of pick and choose, and I'm just cut from a different cloth. I never picked and choose my opponents. I I took whatever option was in front of me as a challenge to compete and prove myself right. Um, I don't know if you can recall when I made the transition to boxing, everybody said he's not going to make it. He's a kickboxer. He did MMA. He can't compete. But yet still, I was right there on the verge of fighting for a world title and ranked number 3 in the world. And by hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, I didn't do it because honestly, I never really had a backing. Everything I did in my career was by blood, sweat, and tears and performance. So I didn't go out and have a whole rant on social media and captured a big fight like that. No, I went back to the trenches, to the fucking gutters, to small local shows and fought my way up the right way, and obviously I don't say don't use it. I mean, Francis is the heavyweight champion of the world in UFC. So why wouldn't he use that and secure that big fight with Tyson Fury? Do I think he's going to do well? Who knows? He has incredible power. He always has a puncher's chance. But I know that boxing is very tricky, especially when you're going to challenge the elites and fight the elites in the division. It doesn't matter what weight division. Every weight division has the elites. And once you want to challenge those, you got to do your homework. You got to get your rounds in. You got to get some prefer some fights to, like to build experience and deal with things. So, and that Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley, I mean, what can you say about it? The guy is doing. I respect the fact that he trains hard, and I respect the fact that he's dedicated to the craft and he's trying. But man, I think the media is probably also the one to blame, because you guys cover these fucking guys as if they're the next, biggest thing in the world. But who did he fight? Like, I mean, and I get it because you can't expect the same way that it's almost unfair for Ngannou to right away jump in there with Tyson Fury. You can't expect Jake Paul to jump in with the likes of a Canelo Alvarez or a Charlo or whatever. No, he has to build some experience up and everything. But the only thing that probably gets people is that while he's doing that, he's fighting for big paychecks. And I'm not mad by it. Everybody has to get what he or she deserves. And I think he deserves it some way, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm never going to fault anyone for making money. And same thing I said about Ngannou. I know Ngannou's always had a dream of boxing. And if he can get paid, millions of dollars to go fight Tyson Fury, have at it. I'm never going to fault anyone for that. But I also know it's a different animal. And, you worked your way up. You know how tough it is to be in boxing. And again, that's why I called you a combat sports legend, because I mean it, because you've done it. You're one of the rare guys, one of the only guys to ever do what you've done in terms of 3 different sports. You know how hard it is. So again, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he has, if it ever happens, I wish him nothing but the best. But again, that's jumping in the deep end on day one. And again, you're a guy who actually earned your way there through 14 fights. And it's a whole other animal.
Yeah, I mean, I nothing in my career went easy. Like I said, it was blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifices, and performing. I made sure I won. 9 out of 10 times it was pretty spectacular, and that made me a fan favorite, and I earned it that way, not by anything else. So but it shaped me as an individual, as a fighter, and as a person, because now all work is easy work. I mean, right now I'm fucking, I gotta grapple, I gotta grind, I gotta do this. Hey, that's what it is. You know, I mean, I'm not scared of hard work. I've been doing it my whole life. So suffering and everything is probably where I feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back in MMA. January 28th, Eagle FC 44. Excited for you to be back in the main event. But selfishly, Tyrone, I'd be lying to you if I said I want to see you back in boxing as well. And I hope we do see that. I know now that we're kind of coming out of this pandemic and things are getting rolling again. Hopefully, 2022, I imagine you want to be a big year after what you've gone through these last couple of years of just time off and things like that. So selfishly, I admit, I look forward to you being back. I was so excited for that Usyk fight, and I hope something like that happens again in the future for you. Because of all the guys talking about crossing over to boxing, I think you're the guy who actually will go out there and make some serious damage to these guys. But again, I'm very excited for you to be back in MMA, and this is a big opportunity at Eagle FC 44, of course.
Well, all these heavyweight guys in the boxing scene, they know of me, and they they weren't eager to take a fight against me, but hey, they duck me, I'll go fight an MMA legend. I don't care. I could do it all. And but I have a feeling 2022 is going to be a good year by the recent talks that I had with Ali. I think there's good things that are about to happen, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong, and I'm looking forward to entertain the fans and, more than anything, prove myself right.
Absolutely. Well, Tyrone, thank you so much for taking the time for me again today. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your training camp. Of course, best of luck in the fight, man. Cannot wait to see you back in action, and look forward to chatting again soon, okay?
Talk to you soon, my man. Thank you for having me.